Yes, guys, welcome back to SFeatleyTV, and we're here with the match reaction to Arsenal's game against Leicester City, where we won 2-0 at the King Power. I've got Brad from Leicester Till I Die TV. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing a bit better after the weekend's action, mate. That was annoying to watch, to say the least.
Yeah, we're gonna go through it a little bit because I think there's more to it than actually probably just the result says. I'd say, I've got to admit, I did watch your your tactical breakdown. I've got to admit, I was impressed. I was impressed. I probably won't be able to go that much into detail. I will say that, but I mean, going into the game, I mean, how did you? I mean, how? What were you thinking, Brad, as a Leicester fan going into the game?
I mean, I wasn't fooled into the fact that Arsenal were going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, you were in some form, and you still are, obviously, regardless of the thoughts of the style of play and how fortunate maybe Arsenal fans feel the results were. But I felt pretty confident on the whole. I think more confident than I would have been a few weeks before, given we were both in bad form at the same time. In fact, Leicester and Arsenal this season, you could argue in terms of form, but have been quite symmetrical. But yeah, then it all went to pot in about 25 minutes, unfortunately. But going into it, I was confident of a result of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the first. I was quite surprised. I mean, I was watching bits of it. I couldn't watch the whole game because obviously I had my birthday on that day. But I was quite surprised when obviously I first after 10 minutes we're 1-0 up. So you don't usually see that too often these days as an Arsenal fan. So I was quite gobsmacked. And and yeah, and when I saw the second goal as well, again, it looked like a nice, good move by Arsenal. I think the first half, I just don't think Leicester were. They were a bit like lethargic I'd say in a sense. They weren't. We seemed to be more up for it than they were in the first 30 odd minutes of the game.
Yeah,
But once, go on.
so go on.
Yeah, so as like I said, and then when it got to the second half, I think once you had that team talk, and I think also we had a team talk of pretty much what Arteta does when he's back 2-0 up, which is we're gonna park the bus and let everyone come at us.
Yeah.
Which at 2-0 is I don't like us doing that at 3-0, let alone at 2-0. So I was expecting after the break we would be hounded by Leicester, and we were. And to be honest, with the chances you created, we were very lucky not to go away to get away with 3 points. To be honest, I'm surprised you didn't get something out of the game. To be honest,
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, you looked at the Leicester lineup, and you probably would be hard pressed to find a Leicester fan that wasn't impressed with the lineup. I mean, the formation change to going two up front had worked. Playing three at the back, having Evans in there was a good sign. All signs pointed towards Leicester having another solid performance. And, maybe it was, maybe I think actually Arsenal caught Leicester and Brendan Rodgers unawares. I think we were expecting you to be on the front foot, but I don't think we was ready for you to be as high pressed and as compact as you were, because you didn't just attack with your bog standard midfield and then the two up front in Lacazette and Aubameyang. Your centre backs were high lined. Your wing backs were getting to the edge of our box. I think almost in essence, by the time Leicester figured a way to try and cope with you in that first 20 minutes or so, we was in retreat, mate. We was like the bloody. It's like we'd heard the British were coming. You know what I mean?
Does it feel like you did that to come from Arsenal in a sense? Did
Fuck that, mate.
Leicester underestimate? Did Leicester underestimate like Arsenal there? Like they didn't expect Arsenal to come at them like that.
To a degree, yeah. I mean, in Brendan's press conference, he did expect you to attack in a four, and I think maybe the way he set up and the way the players were positioned to kind of go was to spring the trap, which has worked to great effect for Leicester, not just this season but over the years. And I think maybe, what everybody says about him, I think Arteta maybe one up Brendan. Maybe he changed something at the last second and was more keen before the game in his team talk to tell a few more players to be brave and be willing to commit forward. And I think that worked. And, well, clearly it worked because you was 2-1 in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, go on.
20 minutes of the game. So, man, I thought you must have had a Leicester fan there in the background throwing stuff around.
Go on. I've got Mum trying to rearrange the freaking kitchen now. Now that I'm live. Couldn't do it about 3 hours ago. Go on.
But yeah, I think you did to a point catch us by surprise. You certainly caught Leicester fans by surprise. I think we were expecting to be able to retain the ball, pick it off from you in the midfield and go at you almost in a way that you went at home. Yeah, but you almost did a Leicester in a sense that you went, well, if you're going to put three, if you're going to go forward with 5, we'll go forward with 6. So anything we did or tried to do, especially in that first half an hour, Arsenal did it and did it better. And you mentioned we had quite a lot of chances, and I think if you look at them chances, there are moments in games that when they don't go your way, you start to feel as a fan that it's just not going to be your day. I mean, I don't know what Ramsdale had for breakfast that morning, but I want him tested because that save he made was unreal.
Mate, I can't believe that save, honestly. There's some saves in football, you're like, how has he done that? And that was just, and the fact that it's come from someone who's got nothing but stick since he's turned up with the club. I really, really felt happy for him, to be honest, because I didn't give him stick. I just like, it's not the player I want, obviously, but like he's our player now, and we can't change it. You just got to get behind him. And true enough, he's performed 10 times better than Leno's probably done in the last season. So I can't see at the minute why people complain. Obviously, Leno looked so good when he first came in, but then we had Pepe checks, which was probably even worse than what Leno is right now. So but Ramsdale's doing the business right now. So
yeah,
like the guy's incredible, and it's not just that save as well; it's a number of saves you made.
Yeah, he made. Oh, mate, that was. I mean, there was talks that his save off Madison's free kick was save of the season, and I'd be hard pressed to find a save that wasn't as good as that. And like you said, not just that, it was his recovery rate. And I know Pepe. I think it was Pepe that helped clear it off the line.
Yeah,
when it came down. So, Arsenal, credit to them, they were brilliant. But I mean, not to kind of get on board with Arsenal fans as much, but I think you saw, especially in that second half, and I know they created a few chances in the second half, but it was late in the second half, and that's when time was really against us to get the goal. So we probably afforded you more space. But for the majority of that second half, and probably after that half hour, I would say, it does feel a bit like it's Arteta's basically gone, right, we go at them until we can't go at them anymore and we're knackered, and then we'll try, and whatever the score is at the point, we'll see it out.
Do you know what's the thing is that's I think what Arteta's doing right now. It's what I see most of the time is at the minute. If you see most of our games at the minute, we start really, really well. Start really brightly, brilliant. And it's either when a good team like Man City picks us off in the first 10 minutes, we then fall into our shell, or we have a sustained period of pressure and we get a goal up or a goal or two, realize we ain't going to get any more than what we've got, and then try and park the bus for the rest of the game and try and maintain what we got left. because what he doesn't realise is half the squad that he keeps playing week after week after week after week after week, like Smith Rowe, Saka, and the rest of them, they're still kids and they're going to get tired. And Saka's dropped performances because he's knackered. And I said it, I keep saying it now. The last break he got as a player in football was since the first lockdown back in 2020. That's nearly 2 seasons. That's not good.
Yeah, and you know what? So I've got to give credit where it's due. And I know, obviously, you Arsenal fans are rightly probably cautiously optimistic of the current form you in, because it seems like it's a case
Some of us are.
Yeah, we've seen this again. Well, I think the thing is, and it's a main talking point, and I'm sorry to have to compare you to it, but it's the only other team that I like in Manchester United, and the fact that I just think, and I know it's been other clubs that are, as well, that have had these intern managers or these player become managers. With Chelsea last season, you've got it with Rooney at Derby, etc. But I just feel there's a reluctance to really go full ham and take full joy in a good run, because I think you're so self-conscious, and I understand why, but it's like in the back of your head you're going, yeah, but
it's not so much that though. If you're looking at the performances for each game,
yeah,
it's like we've hardly scored against Norwich, and to be honest, Norwich could have quite easily got an equaliser or even one game. To be honest, they could have taken the lead easily before we scored the goal. We could only beat Burnley by a free kick. Otherwise, that was a 0-0 dead draw, as usual. We only, I think it was that Spurs, as much as we were good, and we were good for a half, that was one half. And when they started fighting, it leveled out. So they didn't fight in the first half. Brighton, we were lucky we got away with a point. Right, and people want to say they had the wind and the rain. Oh, apparently Arsenal can't play in wind and rain now. Right, this Arsenal side that used to go no matter where they went. Right, we were unbeaten throughout the entire season, no matter what conditions were, where we were playing, no matter how bad the pitch was. We managed to not lose a game. We now can't play in wind and rain apparently. So, okay, then we've got Crystal Palace. That's a loss. That's a loss. I'm not even counting what happened in the last minute of that game, right? Because that was a defeat, right? In my mind, that was a defeat that deserves not even mentioning. That was embarrassing. Aston Villa was probably the only other good performance you could say, but again, it's like a 35-minute spell of where we've done well, and again, Leicester game, 35-minute spell, been great, good football, and then it disappears. And then we start parking the bus. We drop 5 yards, and it's like we invite pressure. And what makes me nervous about it, you do that against Liverpool, who are already betting in you anyway. So let's be honest. So if you're having a good spell, if you try and go at them, they'll just pick you off. So when we do end up playing teams that we are trying to compete to get in the Europa League, because that's what our target is, supposedly, though we ain't got one apparently. We're going to end up getting absolutely crucified.
Yeah, and as much as I know,
it's not the results. People want to keep looking at the results. These are Turin fans at the minute. They're loving life because look, we're unbeaten in 7. These Arteta fans can't say nothing. We're right. No. They're not looking at the performances.
No,
and it only takes to get playing against Liverpool.
Yeah, they're not looking at it.
Yeah, they're not looking at performances. That's the thing.
No, and again, kind of like, I know I'm not an Arsenal fan, but and I've come on the show a few times, and when I've done other things, me, Stephen, I try and look at it from the outside view in, and from a Leicester fan's perspective, from what I've seen and heard about Arsenal, this is why I'm actually a big advocate of these player managers, these Rooney's, your Artetas, either doing what they originally did with like Arteta being a second in command and learning under the experienced manager, and doing it for several years, not just 3 or 4 and then thinking you've got it about you to do a job. But then going down to a League Two, and that's not a disrespect. It is a completely different game of football in League Two. Not just the standard. I'm not about standard. I'm on about the way you learn the game, because you can't get. And it's no disrespect to the talent in there. I'm sure League Two fans of their clubs would agree with me here. It's a completely different game of football. You can't go to a 4-4-2. No, I don't even mean to say that. You can't go to like a Shrewsbury Town and say, right, I want you to play this glamorous ticky-tacky football, because they're not at that ability to do that. Yes, the
Plus, you're not going to have to play. Yeah, the luxury of having players to do that sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
you're not going to have a
Ronaldo,
a Tielemans, and a Aubameyang that can pull you out a scrape if it's not going on. You're throwing on Phil, the part-time plumber, on at half-time to try and change your game. Not Arteta. You know, you're not got Aubameyang or Cavani or whoever or Dacus on the bench. It's completely different ball. If you go there and learn your trade, which is why I give a bit of respect to Rooney. I know he's not having the greatest time, but nor is Derby as a whole.
Vieira as well. Look at Vieira. Look what he's managed to do in 10 games.
Probably the only one.
He's gone to America and everywhere.
Yeah. He's done his dues, and he's not got a top job. He's in the Premier League, sure, but it's not a.
And he was a number 2 at Man City as well.
Yeah, exactly. So he's gone out. He's got the experience, and look. Every so often you're going to get a gem that works. We know that in this. But I always retort back to the fact that if you took 10 ex-players and made them all manager, you'd be hard-pressed if 2 succeeded.
Yeah, I mean, look
at... I think the problem is, well, you think... Yeah, sorry. I was just going to say, to back that up, look at the naivety of the managers so far. Perfect example was made by Paul Scholes, wasn't it, about... Man U, they played a certain way against Atlanta, and he went, that's great, but if you do that against a better side, you're going to get torn apart. Lo and behold, the arrogance set in, maybe the naivety set in, and he thought, no, you don't change your winning mentality in football, we'll play that way and we'll do this. And it's something I'll get onto about our game that I did like, and was kind of like a saving grace to pick at our performance, was you have to in them situations. You can't just go desperate down, gun-ho, and hope for the best, because eventually it's going to backfire on you, And that's where these managers are never going to get all the credit for anything that happens on the pitch or where their team finishes, because of the quality they've got there, and they know that to a point, the players are going to take an initiative and take things into their own hands to save a result or put it, I've seen it numerous times, especially with Bruno Fernandes. You just see him sometimes kind of go, you know what, F what you're saying, give me that goddamn ball, I'm going to run past 2 players and we'll stick it in the top bins because we're losing to Sunderland in the FA Cup, which is embarrassing. And that's sometimes what bails these managers out. Is the players they've got.
I completely hear that. I mean, and that's why as an Arsenal fan, you want to be very, very cautious about how things are right now. It's all right saying things are great right now, but it's not going to be great if you're going against sides that we should be competing against, or like we should be competing against of someone of Arsenal stature. And we're just all we're gonna do is end up getting torn apart. I mean, I want to look at like again Leicester's sort of side of it. I mean, you mentioned about some of the positives you take. I mean, going forward now, I think you've got Spartak Moscow, I think is in the Europa League. And then you've got another game during the week. What do you think Brendan Rodgers would do towards that? Because obviously, I don't know how it is in the Europa League so far. I think it's reaching a critical stage now, and I think you need a couple of wins to try and make sure you get through that. Do you think Brendan Rodgers will try and focus more on that rather than the league right now?
I think they probably go, in a weird way, they go separate and hand in hand in terms of importance. I think because you can. And you have to, if you want to maintain this sort of football coming to your team every season, you have to find a way to maintain making sure that your focus is separate. So you haven't got one eye on Leeds at the weekend, or you haven't got one eye playing Arsenal, you haven't got one eye on Spartak in midweek. You know how to focus the team. You know how to focus as a unit, and be prepared to go strong in that. Leicester were drawn in a tough group in the sense of Napoli were in that group, and Spartak aren't no pushovers. I mean, we probably have had the game of the Europa League with that 4-3 game we had at their ground. But we've had, it also just shows football in general. I mean, at one point, Napoli and Leicester had 1 point and were joint bottom. Now we play Spartak, and if we win that game and Napoli either beat, I think they have to beat 4-5. Yeah, if Napoli beat,
I just want to.
If Napoli beat their team, we go top of the group, which is complete contrast. So the thing is that Leicester have done well, and as I say, the positives from the game was last season when Leicester needed to bring a player on or make some changes because of tired legs or a system had to be changed, like it was during the Arsenal game, where we completely changed our system to go a flat four at the back. Leicester fans were probably a bit nervous at the names coming up on the board. To mention a few, Mendy. At a time it was Bennett who we had on loan. It was Iosi Perez. But now we've got our Samores. We've got, we've got Adaka. We've got these players in that solidifies it. So what it allows
us to do. That's the thing, because I thought this season you have more depth. This is the thing.
Yeah. And that's the one thing we were really lacking from the last 2 seasons. I think that's what killed us off, in a sense. And that's why the talk of burnout has been a big hot topic with Leicester. And now we've got these depths. Even though we have missed these players, like Ndidi, who's been out, we haven't missed them as much because Samore has been brilliant for us. Yeah. I mean, he ran the show against, against Man United for us when he was going forward. And you couldn't tell me the difference between him and Ndidi. So it was positive to see that when we made a change in our shape and our approach to Arsenal after half time, that we had the quality on the pitch. We wasn't worried about, if Jamie Vardy goes off, what if we take Maddison off? What if we take this player, that player? Because that means lesser quality players come on. We was like, if he changes it, it was nice that it was predictable to go, if he comes off, we'll bring him on, so it's all right, and we can put Daka on if we need to take Vardy off, and etc. So it was one positive, and another positive was another question that Leicester fans are always asked about Brendan is he never seems to have a plan B, and that's not just Brendan, that was Puel, that was Ranieri's biggest problem. I mean, he tried about 19 tactics in 4 games at some point. He was that confusing in his period. Puel was a bit stubborn, never really wanted to change away from what he was trying. But Brendan Rodgers adapts to the tactic. And you try and do that when you're 2-0 down in a game, it normally doesn't work. And it shows that you just guessed your way to try and do it. Something that if that happened, if Arteta did that and you guys were 2-0 down and then you saw a system change, you'd go, he's just got desperate. But you saw by the way they played, that's clearly something they work on the training ground, that formation where they go back to a back 4. So that was a big positive to take, was our reaction and playing the way we did once we changed the shape, to show the depth and quality that team has, and it has the potential to achieve what Leicester want, with a good European success, which would be going past the round of 32, which Brendan can do if he tops the for the first time in his career. We want to have a good defence of our FA Cup, and we want to get top 6.
Yeah.
Not necessarily 4. Obviously, that's that. Like where you get like a bonus objective on FIFA as a career mode or something. It's like, but if you achieve this, it's even better. That's sort of how Leicester fans levelled out the last 2 seasons. Have gone, you know what they say, and it happened to, and I don't want to swear on this channel, but Spurs. Remember when they had the Bales and that, and they were like, we need to keep consistent in Europe, and then they fell apart because they're crap, and Nuno's off the wheel now. So, but Leicester are now giving up. This is their opportunity, and if they want to keep cementing it, I would be happy with Europa League for the next 4 seasons straight, because it would back up what we've already done this last 2 seasons. You know what I mean?
I mean, what you've done already. I mean, like the people go about the top 6. You've easily replaced Spurs or Arsenal, whichever you want to pick from there, as one of the top six. I mean,
I'm on an Arsenal train, mate. I'll pick Spurs.
yeah.
We'll kick them out.
Well, I say that Danny's in the chat now. This guy is bloody haunting me. This guy now, he's bloody haunting me because he knows he's got Conte, and he knows I'm pissed off because of it. Ramsdale was a beast for you the other day, mate. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Would you say? Oh, actually, one more thing before I go to a player rating sort of thing. What about Fofana? Because obviously Fofana we knew got injured by I think it was Slavia Prague, I think in a friendly. And
Villarreal.
Villarreal.
Yeah.
So yeah, massive and obviously he's a massive miss. I mean, is one of the reasons why I look at Saliba and I'm thinking, why the hell is he in Marseille? He should be at Arsenal right now, in the place of Holding. And actually, people saying we bought Ben White and Ben White. These are Arteta fans. I mean, some of them are saying like he's going to be the English version of Van Dijk. These are how stupid these fan counts are. That if you want to take a snapshot of how deluded our fan base is in the social media world, just think of someone in a mental asylum, like, and has been admitted to a mental asylum. That's how mental they are. They actually don't have a clue what they're talking about. They actually think Ben White's going to be actually any good as a defender, or is going to be world class. We didn't need to get Ben White. We could have just don't ever have got him and just used William Saliba. William Saliba, every time he's gone out on loan, has been quality ever since. And what's Ben White done? Nearly like shit himself every time a player's gone near him. So, like, for me, what Fofana shows to me is that why Saliba should be in the Arsenal side. If he should be in Leicester side, playing week in, week out, he should be doing it for Arsenal as well. Saliba should be doing it for Arsenal since Saliba is supposed to be the better choice. So, I mean, obviously, but anyway, for Fofana, is obviously. Did you think that was going to be what was a massive miss for you in that game?
Yeah, I mean, clearly he's going to be a massive miss. I mean, he didn't just burst onto the scene of English football, but he absolutely took it by storm. I mean, from the very first game. I mean, you get these players come along, and if you're lucky enough, they come along to your club. I mean, the last time we had a player that we took to as quickly as this was probably Kante. You know, if you're talking a player that wasn't really well known, and then after that you put Cambiasso, Vardy. Well, no, Vardy didn't have the best of starts to his Leicester career when he was in the Championship. Okay. Instantly taken to, though, yeah, he's up there with Kante, and I'd say for a name that everybody would know, probably Cambiasso. You know, for instant fan love, he's up there with them. I mean, the guy was 19 and has got a footballing brain of a 35-year-old, mate. He's just so calm and composed on the box. When everybody else is erratic and that ball comes to him, he's just like he's taking a dog for a walk with strong. He's like, "In a bit, lads. I've got this. Don't you worry."
Conte's quality, mate. Yeah, I mean, the guy's absolutely amazing, and that's why Chelsea ended up buying him in the first place. But it's like anything with Leicester, like just don't shop at Leicester. It's like shopping at fucking Harrods. Like it's like me and a guy who can't physically go to work in a minute. He goes to go shop at the House of Fraser. I ain't gonna be able to afford it because it ain't gonna happen. Like so, it took you in free enough for you to play Saliba. What names you think he even wants to stay at you after your club? Man, no, it's not so much the club is treating him like that. It's the manager. Like it's the manager. I mean, like the manager gave him 2 games to prove himself. So I don't think it's more the club. I think it's more the manager that's. He actually had something to answer to that. I think it's something to do with what's going to be happening in January. And they're deciding on what to do with him in January. something tells me he's going to be sold. So if that's the case, that what it just shows to me is how, again, is another example of how crap this manager is. He can't spot a good talent like that. So Saliba won't get into the Arsenal team. White and Gabriel are too good, possibly. No, they're not. Connor, stop trolling. Do us a favour. Stop trolling. Like, can I ask Brad to show us his tactic on his board? It's like watching Monday Night Football. Big up.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate the comment.
Yeah, man, it's quality. Wolves beating Everton 2-0 now. So yeah,
Rafa facts. Everton are still Everton, even with Rafa facts. And
yeah,
I wonder how Everton fans are loving Damari Gray anymore.
PSG want
you
him.
Get when you pay 1.4 million for a note for a guy that can't do what he's capable of on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be honest, I don't think like 1.5 million. He's not actually that bad of a start at Everton, to be honest.
I think 1.4 million is too much for him. Honestly, mate, he was so frustrating and he threw his toys out the pram. I mean, anyone that knows me knows that I worked there and I got to see the players quite a lot. His attitude stinks. I mean, I've seen spoiled kids at a playground with better attitude than him. When he weren't getting picked or he weren't getting done, I remember this once, and I'll probably get done for this, right? Called slander and whatever, right? I'm sure Damari Gray doesn't give a monkey's what I say. Walked past him once, and I remember Ben.
Sorry, I've got to just say this. Our fans are deluded enough. They don't need your help. They really don't.
Yeah.
Please.
I remember him turning around, and I think at one point, he was linked with a move to Bournemouth, or somebody was, and he was turning around going, "Nah, man, 20 million's nothing. You're worth more than that, brother." And he's like, "Oh, just the way he walked around, it was like you're a little kid, mate. Stop acting like one and be the footballer that we see." Because when you see him on the ball, and he's got the space, and he's got
talent.
Yeah, he reminds me of a Ravel Morrison. You know, what could have been. You know what I mean? In the case of, it's his own downfall. It's the reason that, you know, we got him from Birmingham for 4 million and the fan base was split. Half their fan base were gutted that he went for so cheap because they could see what he's capable of. They'd seen what he can do. And the other half were like that. You don't do it, though. The second, you know, he could play brilliant for 70 minutes and then a straight pass or a shot that goes 4 million yards over the bar and clears the stratosphere, and that's it. His head goes. And then for the rest of the 15 minutes, you're playing with 10 men. I've never understood it with him. I never understood it.
Connor, I'll put it as simple as this. I'll change my opinion when he starts meeting the standards of his football club. And that is when he gets into the Europa League, then gets into the Champions League, then gets into a title winning position. Until then, I'm not going to change my mind. Because he's not good enough. I got rid of Wenger to go challenge for the league. I didn't get rid of him just to finish top 6 or top 4. Right? So he needs to get us in the Europa League. Then the next season get us into the Champions League. Then the next season get us into the title winning position we need. Simple as that. But he ain't going to do that. So there we are. So, now, and if he does all that, then I'll change my mind. I'll say I'm wrong. I'll quite happily say I'm wrong if he does that. But until then, no. Because in the end, what are we all in here for this league? We're in here to win trophies. We're in here to win the title. Right? We ain't in here just to make up the numbers. Right? Mate, they've got more chance of me flying to the moon. They're saying now, I'll probably start preparing the rocket. But yeah, anyway. Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna move on to. I've got to do player ratings for this now. And then, oh, lovely. Now I'm gonna start. I'll start with Ramsdale first off, and Ramsdale for me has got to get the man of the match for me.
Oh, hands down, mate.
Mate,
like you said about us in the second half. You don't win that game if he's not in goal.
no, absolutely not. And I don't think you put anyone else in that goal. To be honest, I think they make that save. To be honest, I'm not even joking.
Honestly, you'd be hard pressed, apart from maybe the keeper at the other end, aka Casper.
Mm.
Your list is limited when you think of keepers that might
Well,
save
Edison,
that.
look what Edison did that weekend. He got that done
Yeah.
by a scuff shot. So there we are. Look at that. Tommy Yasso, I don't even think had the best of games. Tommy Yasso, to be honest, he was struggling a little bit on that right hand side. His performances
I
have
think.
dropped a little bit.
Yeah, I do think that when we pressed and were more dominant, it came more from the right side, and he did seem
Yeah,
a target area for Leicester in that second half.
I'd say in the middle. I'd say about 6. I'd say.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
when you win, you can't really go lower than a 6, really, unless.
Oh, you can.
Oh, you can, can't you?
Oh, I can. I can if I want to.
It's very true, mate.
That trust me, that just because like the team wins a game don't mean you get singled out. Like this is Arsenal we're talking about. We could win games and everyone gets a free. Right? And then, Ben White. He's had a
I
decent
think he was a
performance, to be honest.
nuisance.
He
Yeah,
is
I
a
think he was a
nuisance, isn't he?
nuisance. He kept Vardy quiet, which is something your defence has not been able to do
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah. He's usually scoring a goal against us. So
Yeah,
I've got to
well,
give him a 7 for that, guys.
if he'd have scored against you, he'd have equalled Rooney's record against you for most goals
Yeah,
against
I
one
know.
club,
I know. Now
which
we've
he
got
could
to do that.
which
Make
he
sure.
could still do, which he could still do
Yeah,
when we play you at the Emirates. But
yeah. That is a point. You've got to play us at the Emirates, yeah. So I've got to bear that in mind. I don't look forward to it. Gabriel, and a good game as well. To be honest, it's
he did what every team knows they can do against Leicester, and that's get a corner. So put
yeah,
it where you like,
yeah.
because 3 things you can guarantee in life: death, and Leicester concede from a corner.
Okay, I'll take your word on that one. Nuno Tavares. Now, this finally Arteta starts managing this squad correctly by letting Tierney have a break, right? And he's actually so why can't you do that with Saka? He's let Tierney have a break for 2-3 games. Why can't you do that for Saka then? You got Pepe there, you got Martinelli there. Oh wait, you can't play Martinelli because you've got an agenda. But we're all about Project Youth. That's the thing. We're all about Project Youth, but we won't let Martinelli play. Right. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. And when we do play him, we put him on the left, not playing what we were going to say we were going to play him in the striking role. So, but there you go. Tavares. I think he had a good game, to be honest. I think he's been decent. He is a good backup or just another option. Just I wouldn't say he's like I wouldn't want to call him like a backup actually. To be honest,
Yeah, I think when you were running on empty, and sort of trying to ride that wave and look tired, he was probably one of the few players that still managed to be able to put in a shift in at full power. He was very good with
yeah,
his recovery. To be honest with
yeah.
you, he had a game to frustrate.
Mm. So I'm gonna go to Lukonga. So, what would you say, Brad, from your position point of view? What would you say with Lukonga?
He definitely shows promise. He definitely looked like a player that he enjoys and relishes the challenge, which has maybe been missing from the team and in the dressing room. He seemed to disappear at times. There was definitely periods in that game where I didn't hear his
Okay.
name, but promising from what I saw of him. I personally would say he was a 6.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. We'll go Thomas Partey.
Well,
Thomas to me, he's all right. It was good performance overall. I would say at times he was a bit missing in the second half.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think we
that's the
used that to our advantage when he was tiring. I think
yeah,
he definitely left a lot of gaps for us to get down the flanks quicker at times and getting behind you a bit.
because
But
this is a problem when you're playing Lokonga because he's so young. He needs help a
yeah,
lot from Partey, and it tires him out at the same time. But then again, Partey needs him there, so otherwise
yeah,
he's useless.
and Partey's only just started to show glimmers of the form of the reasons you
Yeah,
brought him from Atletico Madrid. So I would probably say a 6 because I think Leicester did
mm,
profit, not fully because they didn't score, but they profited with chances from Partey.
mm,
Which, to be fair, is probably a bit harsh because, like you said, because of who he was partnered alongside, he probably had to put in more of a shift.
yeah.
But yeah, it was a 6 just because his mistakes did lead to chances or him being pulled out of position.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka. What we're giving him? Did he get the assist for that goal?
I think he did.
That
I
second
think he
goal.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
finally a
believe he
good
did.
performance. A good performance for him. Finally, maybe that week's rest did help him a little bit.
Yeah, I would
But
personally give him at least a 7. I
yeah,
think he caused us all kinds of trouble. Very noticeable. In that dominating spell for Arsenal. Could have got a goal or
that is.
two
Mm,
himself on another day. And I know it's old news, and I don't like to kick a dead horse, as they say, but with everything he went through emotionally, mentally after the
yeah,
Euros, the horrible, horrible abuse he got for just trying to do his job for his country, that takes a lot, especially when you're
yeah,
at his age. That takes a lot. So I'm very glad. Um, not for his performance against Leicester because it was pretty good for the best part of it, but from a neutral looking at it just as a professional
it's not just so much that. I was just
footballer.
watching him. It's
Yeah,
just watching his reaction,
yeah,
like before
because we've
they even
seen it
before you
before,
even know
haven't we?
about that.
Yeah, there's documentaries out there now of players that people say, oh, he was a player that never was because we wanted him to be this, but because his head went, he fell apart, and
Mm,
we missed out on one of the best players you could have seen. And that could happen. That could have happened to Saka. So it is. I will say, looking at it from a different perspective, and not an in-game perspective, it was good to see Saka getting back to what he does best because that just benefits
yeah,
both club and country.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Emil Smith Rowe on the left for me gets an 8 for me. This guy is just outperforming everyone in a minute.
You know what? I've been
And
a big advocate for youth. Anyone who remembers the
yeah,
show where I went
yeah,
off
yeah,
at
yeah,
somebody, you know what show I'm on about. You know what show I'm on about
yeah. I
because
know what one you're on about.
yeah, because you boys in the chat that were there for it, you even had
Yeah,
my back. No, I'm not saying I know your club better than you. Don't like that guy thought I was, but I stand here correct, don't I, mate? Because
yeah,
he is a
yeah.
player.
Project Youth. We're now going Project
Project Youth,
Youth, aren't
mate.
we? Uh,
I'm telling you
yeah,
now, we jokingly said I don't think there's many players on the Arsenal side that would get into Leicester's immediate 11. But I'm telling you this now, after what I've seen of him this season, I would be fighting to say go and get Smith Rowe and get him in because especially
mm,
if we lose Yuri Tillemans, which looks likely. If we
yeah,
got
yeah.
if
Good
we got
point.
anywhere close to the money we're expecting for Tillemans, I doubt he would leave
Knowing
at all.
Arsenal, we'll sell you for a reasonable price as well.
Yeah, we'd probably chuck 50 million and a Marty at you. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that go. But he's one player I would say was close to Leno
Mm,
in a performance personally. I was really
yeah.
impressed with his work rate. Just shows, mate, you give these young bloods a chance that are hungry and eager and not getting the pockets way down
Absolutely.
the week.
Absolutely. Um, Lacazette. Lacazette.
don't actually recall him doing too much. He came off, and I thought he'd already been off the pitch for 20 minutes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
was he any better?
Again, a bit of a quiet one, you know.
Again, it's just. Do you know what? If he's quiet again, he goes in the poor section for me. I'm fed up with him being quiet. You're a captain. You're not supposed to be quiet.
Yeah.
You're supposed to lead the team.
I can't even say I remember seeing him or hearing them.
He forced one of the corners that then forced the other corner, which then led to the goal.
Yeah.
That was it, really.
Yeah. So
that's all I can say.
Yeah, and I wasn't even sure. And obviously, all right, I maybe don't pay as much attention to it because I'm not looking at Arsenal's performance to a degree. But you notice these things whether you want to or not. You distinctly remember hearing a name by a commentator.
If it's like when Ben White and Gabriel were playing, like you didn't hear Vardy, and you're like, where's Vardy? I thought Vardy's playing.
Yeah, yeah,
that's the thing. And when you start saying that, you know you're not playing well. Simple as that.
And you know they're missing from the game. So for me, strangely enough, your two, if you want to say biggest names, were probably the ones that ghosted that game on Halloween's Eve. They ghosted it, didn't they? Because they really didn't do anything. Look at them going down, lower down. I like it. I like that gap.
I know. Nicholas Pepe didn't do much when he came on, to be honest. Just helped out with the defensive work, to be honest. I think everyone that came on is going to just get a standard 6 for me because they just helped out with defensive work, to be honest.
They did the job that was the need of him in that closing.
I mean, Kolasinac actually defended as a left back. It's shocking.
I know, right? I had to check the meter, right, to see if they're falling from the sky when I saw him defending. But the apocalypse of that
I know, and you know it's definitely Halloween, isn't it?
Yeah. One defense I will give of Pepe is certain defense I've had to give to certain other players is he didn't ask to be paid. That he didn't ask Arsenal to pay that.
I say that every goddamn time. Do you know what? I've said this so many times, like, and you got to think he's then got a manager who then who didn't even want him to start with because he doesn't know how to play him. He didn't want to play him, and he doesn't play him that way in the way he wants to. He then gets that manager sacked, or not him personally, but the manager gets sacked, gets replaced by a caretaker manager for 3 games, then gets replaced by Mr. Coneboy, right, who doesn't even know how to use any sort of players, let alone Partey, or let alone Pepe, sorry, right? And like I'm sitting here wondering, like, well, what do you want him to do? Every time he has been played properly, or you have a passage of play where he's been played properly in the way which is in front of the ball in front of him, running on into space, he's caused a man of problems. Every time he then gets a run of games and he starts playing well, he gets dropped. Yeah. How is he supposed to get confidence?
Yeah,
then he wonder why then he wonder why then he's got the attitude of like, oh well, maybe I won't try that much, or I'll just look lazy because if I actually start playing well, I'll get dropped.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when you played us last time at the King Power, and you beat us 3-1, and he ripped us apart on that side of the field.
Everyone forgets that.
Yeah, and this is one thing I always try to drill into fans' heads that say, oh, well, we paid this much for him. Right? No, there's a difference between a club paying a fee for a player and a player being worth that fee. Right? Everybody, I remember when Pepe has good performances, certain channels would go, yeah, but blood clot, yeah, you get me, man. We were paying like 74 G's for this guy, yeah, bloodring millions, yeah, he should be getting that, right? And I'm thinking, oh, I have to get my Urban Dictionary out for this, but let me try and translate it back to you. I would say, what up, G? What is thy beef with Pepe? Because thy Pepe is a £30 million player, Brudgeon, you get me? You know, he's playing to the best of his ability. It's not his fault that Arsenal will pay you 40 million than what his quality produces. If you'd have paid 30 million or 40 million at a push for Pepe, fans would have given him such a different reaction when he puts in a good performance like I've seen him do. And I've seen it. I don't just sit there and watch Leicester games. I do watch occasional other teams play, especially when it's a good, tasty game that's, you know, like a high-class game that's on there, like a local derby. They're always fun to watch when you're not supporting them, you know. And I've seen players like that, the players that have been paid over the odds for, and when they put in a good performance, all you hear from their fans, like I just kind of mock them, is, yeah, but he could do that every week. We paid this much for him. He goes, yes, exactly. You paid that much for him, but you're not saying Pepe's a £70 million player.
Yeah.
I've never heard a person say that £70 million is the amount of quality you get from Pepe. Please, if you're thinking that, think about it. What do you value him as? I value him at this much. Is he playing like a player that's valued at that much? Yeah, then he's doing exactly what you asked for.
What you want, yeah, absolutely. I say it all the time, but there you go.
And I swear, I'm not an Arsenal fan. I'm a Leicester fan, guys. For anyone wondering in the chat,
I know. Sometimes you speak more sense than most of this Arsenal fan base. Honestly, half of them speak delusion half the time. 1 minute they're in, 1 minute they're out, 1 minute they're left to shake it all about. So there you go. Yeah, I know. Let's do the okey cokey, get Arteta out. That's what it's all about.
Wait.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's the. Anyway, any final thoughts before we go? Before we wrap it up, mate.
I think Arsenal are a side that need to make sure they learn from the mistakes of neighbouring clubs that are in a similar situation. Not just, your hatred rivals in Spurs with a change of manager or that, but other clubs that are maybe taking a manager on a namesake. I think what Arsenal need to make sure they do, and I know it's going to be difficult when you've got owners that genuinely seem like they don't give a monkeys about the club, or the state of it. Obviously, I've heard talks. Apparently, there's another plan for a Super League, so clearly we know where their heads at.
Yeah, it's going to be relegation and that.
What Arsenal fans will want to see now from Arteta is not to fall into the same trap that other managers have done when they're not in favour, and that is, that worked, so let's just keep going. And you kind of get that feeling like it's almost inevitable in a way, to use another thing as an example, right, that Manchester United will probably play the way they did against Spurs tomorrow night or Wednesday night or whenever it is they play against Atlanta, probably win that game, go into the Manchester derby, try and play that way and get absolutely ripped to shreds. I think what Arteta's got to do now is prove to the players out there and prove to the fans that he's wise enough to, whoever it is you play next, go, right, this team plays like such and such a team. They play like Leicester. Let's say for example, I don't know who you've got next, but say goes, right, they don't play like Leicester. They're going to sit.
Oh, you're putting a lot of faith in Arteta, mate. Trust me.
I know that's obviously the next step that he needs to do to break.
That's the next stage you should have done. He should have done in the first place. But like, we wait 20 months down the line, he still hasn't learned that. So you think he's got to learn it now? So there you go.
But if not, and if it does go the way of the norm, as Arsenal fans fear, my advice would be, as much as you hate them, take a leaf out their book. If this starts going wrong and in the next 4 games you got 1 point after the next 4 games, I go, right, forget it. You've had enough time. Done. Get him out and get someone else in. With the greatest respect. Get someone else in, because you do not want to do it in January, because that guy's got to come through the door. He will want to assess the players, right? He'll want to make his own judgment on them players, and then try and shop around and improve that. And by the time you get him to get in and do that with a group of players you've got, and go, right, 4, 5, 6 names, you'll all go in. 4, 5, 6 names, that's what I'm going to build around. January's only a month. It ain't the summer transfer window. You're going to give a guy, no matter how good a manager he is, you're only going to give him about 2 weeks, a week to do his business. And you ain't going to do it on inflation prices in January, let alone trying to do it at the end of the January transfer window. So if it starts to go wrong again, and the same zombie walking nightmare continues for Arsenal, the head honcho at the top needs to just do a Thanos and just, Arteta's gone. And you know, that would be my thoughts on Arsenal's season so far, to give as quick a summary as I can. Anyone knows me knows that's probably a quick summary, isn't it, Stephen?
Yeah, about as quick as it's gonna get, mate. Because trust me, it could get very long indeed. And in terms of Leicester, I think like you'll be fine itself. I think in terms of yourselves, will be fine. It's just I think it's one of those. Is like you've had very good seasons very recently, and I think sometimes you have a season where it's not been so good. Like even we had it under Wenger one time, where we finished third or something. Like we didn't. We finished third, or we finished second, or we finished first and then second, or something. Then finished third, then second, and just like, or a couple of seasons where we just had bad starts to the season and recovered well. I mean, the season's a long way to go. Still, it's only 10 games old, so yeah, you'll be fine. So to be honest, I still think you'll be fifth. So
maybe it's our season to maybe the approach this season was right, lads. What we're going to do is we're not going to burn out after game week 28, 29. We're going to build up, and then we'll catch up, and then we'll keep ourselves in the area. And
maybe that's a good idea.
That, you know, because I do think, despite the quality we've got throughout our squad, I do agree with people saying that maybe the pressure got to Leicester when that gap was 8, 9, 10 points, and it was still 7 points, 8 points going into the last 5 or 6 games. Leicester were probably thinking, well, we kind of wanted this pretty much in the bag by now. I think that's what told in the end. At least this season, ideally, we wanted a better start, but I think Leicester are probably going to achieve what fans expect them to achieve. I think they'll get out their group in Europa League. They will hopefully top it, which will automatically mean that Brendan and Leicester have gone the furthest they've ever gone in this competition, because it's the second time we've been in it. Again, a decent run, and anything that's Europa League and finishing in the league spot, that will do Leicester this season. Because I think next season, we avoided it this window, which was brilliant, and I think we'll avoid it in January. We're never really a club that likes to get rid of a marquee player in January, because it's just impossible to replace him. But I think next season, we're more than likely, providing a miracle or some great negotiation skills, we're probably going to lose Tielemans, and I hope he goes to China, because I'd be heartbroken seeing him playing another club in the Premiership. It'd make me physically sick, mate. I hope nobody gets him. I hope he goes, sod this, I'm off to Spain for a sunny holiday. Thanks, Leicester. I hope he doesn't, because it just break my heart, mate, seeing him in another kit. I feel like I'd mourn him. But that's one area we're going to have to rebuild for next season. But we're managing stuff. We're a progressing side. We're still very early in this, in our life as a club breaching the top 6, if you will. We're still early in that development, and if we can just keep this going, I think we'll be fine. I wish everybody would stop asking for our manager, because apparently he doesn't really want to go anywhere. But
yeah. Well, when you get like results that you get with Leicester, then obviously people are going to start calling anyway. So But yeah. Anyway,
Well, I
we're
was
gonna have to
surprised he
leave.
wasn't in with the Watford job. He's been that many jobs.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're gonna have to leave it there. Make sure to hit the like button, guys. I know it's been a long stream. As usual, it's been a long day. We're back 3 p.m. tomorrow. I'm gonna do it 3 p.m. tomorrow to see, because like the earlier stream worked really well, because I think it's probably because there are many people doing streams at 6 p.m. or something to get back from work and that. So I thought I'd try and use the advantage of the fact that I can be there around at 3 p.m. So we'll do it 3 p.m. Arsenal gossip column. So make sure you tune in for that. So talking more about that. And then Sean, get lost. Please don't just no. Ollie in. Ollie in. Ollie's at the wheel, mate. Like, so yeah. We're gonna have to leave it there anyway. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe. Make sure you join the membership from as little as $1.99 a month. Got great perks along there. Level 2, like you can get access to members only live streams once we get enough members to start doing them. So if you can get people to join that membership on that scheme, it'd be really, really appreciated. It all goes to Children's Liver Disease Foundation as well. So yeah, of course you could be writing a song. So there you go. So yeah, make sure you do all that, and we will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. And then we've got the watch along for the Champions League game at 7:45. But until then, take care. Bye bye.